outing. That's the Ocala Golf Club. Experience country club style golf at municipal prices. You won't go wrong with the Ocala Golf Club. Call them for a tee time today, 352-401-6917.
This is Ocala Talks with Tom Schmidt, bringing stories that are important to our community in and around Ocala. Plus, of course, a splash of sports as well. Now, here's your host, Tom.
Welcome back to Ocala Talks on a Friday. It's 9 a.m. on a Friday morning, actually 9:05 on a Friday morning. That means Roseanne Fricks from the Early Learning Coalition. She's the CEO of the Early Learning Coalition. She is with us, or someone that she sends usually comes with us, but this week it is Roseanne. And she brought with her, let me get this right, Dr. Downey. She is the Chief Medical Officer of the Heart of Florida Health Centers. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Roseanne, let's get started. Tell people that may have not, for some reason, listened to this show ever before, and if you are a new listener, we're glad to have you. And if you are the first-time listener, what took you so long? But, Roseanne, tell people what the Early Learning Coalition is in Marion County.
Absolutely. And first of all, I'd like to make sure that we do thank our sponsor, which is the Office of Early Learning in Tallahassee. We are a 501c3 Florida nonprofit organization, been in the county for over 20 years now, and we consider ourselves the one-stop for parents. Whether it's a parent of a brand new baby or a child entering elementary school or even middle school, we receive the funding to assist with paying for child care, including before, after school, holidays, weekends, oversee the voluntary pre-kindergarten program, distribute diapers, pack and plays, resources. We're it.
Child seats, bassinets, play sets.
You learned a lot. That's
I've
why
learned
you
a
got
lot.
that gold star.
Yeah, I got a gold star. They brought me a gold star. So.
He's been a good student.
But it's just something that helps a person who's a parent make sure they're able to be a quality parent.
Yes.
Not, everybody wants to be a quality parent, but sometimes finances in the economy or resources or circumstances don't afford them that opportunity, and that's what the Early Learning Coalition helps try to bridge that gap.
Absolutely, and as well as educate parents, because sometimes we don't know what to do.
You know my theory on that, Roseanne. We've talked about it numerous times. You got to have a license to fish, to drive a car, sell real estate. But the most important thing we do as humans, have babies. We go, you can figure that out. Doctor, that's got to be sometimes frustrating that that's what we do as humans. We go, baby rendering, you'll figure that out.
Absolutely. There should be some courses or something that people can take.
More so than just carrying that egg around in high school. Yes. Don't break the egg or you're a bad parent.
That's right.
It was, So you did bring Dr. Downey in with you today, Roseanne?
I did, because again, we operate as a part of this community at the coalition, and we have so many partners, and our community is fortunate to have resources available. And I thought this might be a good opportunity to have Dr. Downey, representing Heart of Florida, here to share with us some of the resources they have. In how many locations, Dr. Downey?
7 in Marion
7
County.
locations throughout the county that parents may not know about.
All of them spectacular locations. But if you hadn't been to the new place on 25th and 40, you're missing out, because that what they did there and the accessibility that people have with that. They took the old Albertsons and repurposed it into a community center that is much needed on that side of town. It services the people from the Forest, Silver Springs, East Ocala, Southeast, Northeast Ocala. Some people, I'm sure, from West Ocala come over. But there are 6 other ones throughout the county. Where are they at, Doctor?
Wow, you have done your homework. I should have brought him a star, too. I think we'll have to get you one over here. So, yes, we have 7 locations throughout Marion County. There's actually one near here, right off 60th. That's our west location. And then we have one located in Bellevue, Dunellen. We have one located in Marion Oaks, in Reddick. It's a much smaller one. And then we have our main site. And then we also have one that's close to downtown near the hospitals, our central location.
Right across from Ocala Fresh.
Yes, absolutely. You know exactly
Right across
where it
Ocala
is.
Fresh,
Yes.
yeah.
That was our first location.
You know, I'll give you a little backstory on me. When I first moved to Marion County, I was coming out of a bad divorce, and I needed health care. And I, like most people, until Obamacare kicked in, a lot of people that didn't make enough money or weren't wealthy enough to get insurance at $800 a month, had to find alternatives. And I knew that the Marion County Health Department was an alternative. But you go there and you set an appointment, and that appointment is the appointment that you set, so then they can set you an appointment. And so somebody told me about Heart of Florida, and this is why it's great for parents and with newborns and stuff that are maybe struggling to make ends meet, is not only do you provide health care, but you provide health care on a sliding scale from where it could be just pennies on the dollar up to, depending on the income, free up to, whatever it takes. But it's very affordable, and it fluctuates on an individual basis.
Absolutely. And we like to stress that even if people can't afford the sliding scale, they can do things like have a payment plan where they pay, the minimum is $35, and they can pay $5 a month until that $35 is paid off. And that $35 includes not only the medical services that they receive, but any lab work that they need done, to follow up on their diabetes or their kidney function or whatever it is that they need. And it also includes any x-rays that they do on our site.
How important is it, Roseanne, to have a partner like Heart of Florida Health to help when parents come to you and go, look, my baby's sick, I don't know what to do, I don't have money to go to urgent care. Urgent care could be $100 just to see you. I don't have, if we go to the emergency room and I use that as my doctor, we sit for 6 or 7 hours. Do you say you have alternatives? Help me. How important it is to have a partnership with somebody like Heart of Florida that you can say, we do have a resource.
It is very important because, as we know, especially young children, they can't necessarily say what's wrong. They
Right.
misbehave. So a parent may take something going on medically that they don't know about because the child is misbehaving, because they're frustrated and they hurt. And having so many locations and knowing that the Heart of Florida provides comprehensive services, they are not going to have you come in and say, oh, you got to go across town, or you know what, you need to go see whoever. And I know one of the newer things, maybe not real new, but newer, is the ability to offer dental services, and that's a big issue with kids.
Yes.
Lower income families, because even if you have insurance, most health insurance doesn't cover dental unless you buy it together. And people say, yeah, but a small kid, it's just their baby teeth. Cavities still hurt to a 4-year-old.
Yes.
There's dental structures and all that could, deformities coming in wrong and all to a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. Teething, they hurt, they pain. And I always liken a small child before they're communicable with language to your pet. Even though they're more important to your pet, they're human.
Right.
Your pet, when it gets sick, it can't tell you it's sick.
That's right.
It does things like it may pee at the back door when it's potty trained and or it may chew something up, or it may wake you up in the middle of the because it's in pain. But the only way it can communicate is by disrupting you. Right. Well, a small child doesn't have verbal communications. There's a lot of you can draw a lot of correlation there, that the child's trying to communicate with you through crying or through acting out or through, however they can get your attention. And it's not always bad behavior. It could be health related, doctor.
Absolutely. And we like to stress for our to our parents that you do need to get them in quickly because, from teeth, the first time they break a tooth, get them in to see the dentist so we can start taking care of and prevent some of those things that, we might catch when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, and then they need more procedures to fix it. But if they get in early and start preventive care and taking care of their teeth, we can prevent a lot, and they can grow into adulthood with a strong foundation in oral health. So.
It's also, I bet, Roseanne, it also helps in a child's development for a child to see that there are healthcare professionals out there that aren't, shutting them out, that there is stuff because I remember when my family lost this gas stations during the oil embargo of the mid-'70s. I know what a box of government cheese looks like. I knew what going to Jacksonville Health Department and getting my teeth root canal done when I was 8 or 9 years old. But we didn't, it was something that we had to wait forever. And so I got to where I hated going to the doctor as a small child because I knew that it was a whole day. I knew I was going to be sitting in the waiting room with other screaming kids that my mom wouldn't let me go talk to or anything because they were sick, so she didn't. And it was just an ordeal. So I got to where a doctor's visit was just as bad to me as the dentist visit. I mean, it was just terrible. And so people don't think kids grasp that. When I was 7, 8 years old, Mom said, we're going to the doctor. I'm not going. But you get a mindset that, especially with your lower income families, you get a mindset, the kids do, that a visit to the doctor is an all-day ordeal. It's a pain in the neck. And kids think this way. People don't think kids think that way, but they do. So how much, doctor, you see it on a daily basis, how much more is it you see a kid that isn't scared of the doctors and stuff because they've been offered good medical help that is like a real doctor's office. And don't get me wrong, the county health department does the best they can do given the funds they're given by our politicians.
Absolutely.
But to go in the heart of Florida, you feel like you're in an actual private doctor's practice instead of the county health. And kids pick up on that, don't they, doctor?
They absolutely do. And it's so key that you said that. We want their experience to be just like everybody else's who goes to a clinic out in their community. You want them to get in efficiently, be taken care of, and to take care of the whole person. If they need behavioral health services, we have therapists that treat children from
Child
4 years
psychologists and stuff
all
like
the
that,
way
yeah.
up. Yes, and they do play therapy with them. They do group therapy, dealing with issues like if they're acting out in school or if there's some parenting issues and the parents need some help and some coaching. They can work with our behavioral health specialists to support that part of their health. And so, our experience is meant to be comprehensive. It's also meant to be integrated, and we don't want to leave anything out about taking care of the whole body, be it the mind, be it the mouth. We even have a pharmacy on site. And that's at a discount as well for those who qualify. And honestly, it's life-changing for some people.
Healthcare is after roof over your head and food, healthcare may be the third most important thing a child needs.
It is.
And a lot of parents, you see the commercial. One of the most poignant commercials right now is for Drug RX, the RX card, where the mom's away. She's obviously a server. She's got her diner waitress outfit on. She's got the one kid in her arm and the two kids. She's like, God, I hope little Johnny's medicine isn't too much, because if it is. And she goes, how much? And the lady goes, $78. And she goes, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. And she turns around to walk away. That's got to be heartbreaking, and that's something you won't see at Heart of Florida, because you have that discounted rate pharmacy and everything right on site.
Absolutely. And it's really been a tremendous support for the people of the community, for children, for families, for people living with diabetes who can now get their insulin for pennies on the dollar. And it could be an insulin that normally costs hundreds of dollars. And that could be life-changing for a child with type 1 diabetes to not have their insulin that's life-threatening. And so we encourage our patients to use our pharmacy. We actually have another pharmacy opening, a drive-through, that's going to be across, it's in the old Wendy's building over on 200.
Right on 200.
Yes, and we want to be able to offer that at extended hours for the parents who might not be able to get there before 6 o'clock, and we'll be those hours will be 8 to 8 Monday through Friday, and we're going to open on Saturday mornings as well.
Roseanne, how many times, just if just ballpark it, how many times in a week do you field calls, or somebody at your Early Learning Coalition takes call about, I need health care, I got no alternatives, can you help me?
Very frequently. I would say probably 15 to 20% of our calls, and we get a lot of phone calls.
Wow, 1/5 of your phone calls.
Yes, looking for some type of assistance, because healthcare is necessary and they don't know where to go. A lot of our community members don't, and our community is growing, as you and I have talked about.
Yes.
So when they're new to the community, a lot of times we get the call because there's a child involved.
Well, and the thing is, my child's ill. I need to get him to. I don't have the $100 for the emergency
Right.
care, for, the quick care. I don't want to go to the emergency room, because the emergency room, by the way, is a traumatic event for a child. I mean,
For everybody.
especially if you go to one of the county emergency room and the child's in there, and here they come wheeling a robbery suspect by that's, with police custody, or somebody's been stabbed by their girlfriend or boyfriend, and they come by. You got to explain that to a child and everything. That could be.
A little bit.
But a lot of times, parents come to you saying, "I need help with my child," and through that, learn they can also get medical treatment and
Yes.
medical help, which a lot of parents of lower income and poverty level parents forego their health to make sure their children have health.
Absolutely, and that's part of our case management, is that while our services are specifically for the child is a part of some family unit, and we need to deal with the whole family unit for everyone to experience some success and continue forward movement towards financial stability.
If mom's got diabetes and she can't take care of her child because she can't take care of her diabetes, that hurts the child.
Right.
That the family unit is there to raise the child, and if the family unit's not capable because of health issues, that's why the Early Learning Coalition treats the entire family unit,
Yes.
even though you're specifically there for the child's progress. The child doesn't progress without the family unit progressing.
Right, absolutely, and that is certainly one of the things that we concentrate on, is the whole family unit. If I could, I'm going to ask Dr. Downey if she could share a little bit about the importance of us as adults recognizing that even children, young children, can have some challenges or issues with mental health, because I think that's a hot topic now, as you and I have discussed.
I've taken Ritalin since I was 6 years old. Took mine this morning on my way into work.
But it is very, very prevalent out there, and I don't think sometimes parents don't understand that it can begin young. As you said, it's 6 years old for you, but it started before that.
Certainly. Doctor, how many times do you have parents come in and go, they suggested Early Learning Coalition, we come talk to you about little Johnny's mental health, but little Johnny's probably just a bad kid.
Oh, that's probably a daily occurrence, actually, where the parent believes that it's a behavioral issue and there's actually some anxiety or ADHD going on, or some depression even in very, very young children. Society is changing and evolving, and parents are in a rush and in a hurry, and a lot of people from our community and a lot of people who come to our center are from cultures that don't typically recognize mental health as being a true health issue. Sometimes people think that it can be controlled with, if you just do this, you can control yourself. But sometimes you need medication, or therapy to work through some of those issues, especially if it's a child who's been through some trauma. And our counselors and our therapists are very good at working with trauma, working with a model that's trauma informed. And so it takes into account that children may have experienced traumas and may not have exhibited any response to it until afterwards, and it seems like it's coming from nowhere, but something triggered it, and there's a manifestation in their behavior, kind of like what you were saying earlier with our pets, and the parent doesn't know that this is something mental health, and they could benefit from therapy, or the parent could benefit from some assistance in therapy and working with the child and being able to recognize what those triggers were and intervene before it spirals out of control.
I remember when I was in high school in Atlanta, we had a kid, Lorenzo, that committed suicide, hung himself in his closet at his apartment, where we all knew him and everything. And his mom, I remember it vividly. His mom went on Channel 2 News in Atlanta, ABC News, when they were doing the thing, and she goes, he kept telling me that he was hearing voices and he didn't, and he was African American. She goes, but we don't believe in that kind of thing, and now he's dead. That happens a lot, especially in lower income, the ethnic groups. I know a lot of African American people that say, there ain't nothing wrong with my kid's brain. Right. They're okay. My child has sickle cell, he's sick. My child has a heart disease, he's sick. My child has diabetes, he's sick. My child has a mental illness. Now my child's just bad. Ain't nothing wrong with my kid.
Exactly.
Because and a lot of it, do you see, doctor, it's because the parents think then that's a bad mark on them as a parent, because if he's got a bad heart, but if he's mentally ill, if he's crazy, that's my fault. I'm not dealing with, I'm not dealing with crazy. And that's what they think mental health is. They immediately think you're crazy.
That's what, or my kid isn't crazy.
Yeah,
That's
my
what
kid
you
ain't
hear.
crazy.
And it's really heavily stigmatized in many communities, especially communities of color, unfortunately. And getting the parents to be able to recognize that it's not something necessarily that you did. You know, mental illness is real, and it is physiologically based. There are
Yes.
chemicals and neurotransmitters in our brains that can contribute to it, and there's also genetic components that play into this. And so, you know, it's not always nurture. Sometimes it's the nature of you know, your genetics or something that you've been through that triggers there to be an imbalance, and being able to recognize that and not be ashamed of it is really important.
Do you think we as a society have not done it due justice? Because remember, in the 60s and the early 70s, chiropractors were quacks. You know, it makes perfect sense to us now. A man or a woman that'll adjust your bones and get them set back the way it makes perfect sense. But in the 60s and 70s, you were quacks. I think a lot of people think when they hear mental illness, all they think is, my kid ain't crazy. And mental illness has nothing to do with crazy, such a bad word. It has nothing to do with crazy. It has to do with chemical imbalance and neurons not firing properly. It has nothing to do with crazy. How do we change that and get parents to understand this is actually a physical ailment? The brain is an organ just like your heart, just like your skin, just like your lungs.
Yes. You know, we do what we're doing now. We talk about it. We educate and help people understand that, you know, there are a lot of people going through these. We normalize it. It happens. It's a health condition, and we don't have shame in talking about it. You know, I'm suffering from anxiety, or I'm suffering from depression, and I'm dealing with it just as if I might be dealing with my diabetes or my high cholesterol.
Because anxiety will make your heart explode if it goes unchecked. That's what people don't understand. A mental issue like anxiety could run your blood pressure and your heart rate up so much that it could trigger a heart attack. And people don't understand. People go, a panic attack. You're just trying to get attention. No, panic attacks are real things.
That's right.
Real things. Well,
That's right.
I think you're right that we got to talk about this more. I wish we had more time because we could go all day on this.
Right.
And sometimes I think children don't get the help they need for their mental situations because parents say, my kid ain't crazy, it ain't my fault. And it's not about fault, is it, doctor?
No, it is not. It is not. And so we would encourage parents, families, reach out to Heart of Florida Health Center. If you want to come and be a patient, you can access the mental health services. We do maternity. We do adult pediatrics, pretty much the full scope. We have vigorous case management to help with other things like transportation, food insecurity. And so our approach is really a unique one that can address the whole person. And so we want them to call us and become a patient.
From head to toe, inside and out.
I love it.
That's why they're an awesome partner with the Early Learning Coalition.
We need to write that. We need to Heart of Florida, from head to toe, inside and out. There's a jingle right there.
There you go. You got it.
Roseanne, tell people how they can find out more about the Early Learning Coalition.
Sure. Early Learning Coalition, sponsored by the Office of Early Learning. Our website is www.elc-marion.org, and we do have links to our partners on there, including the Heart of Florida.
ELC-marion.org.
Correct.
That sounded like a mouthful, but then when I said it, it wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad?
ELC-marion.org.
Yes,
Pretty good.
sir.
Roseanne, you always
Thank
bring
you.
great guests, and you make my
Great.
job easy.
Good.
Dr. Downey, she's the Chief Medical Officer at Heart of Florida Healthcare Center. Roseanne Frick, she's the CEO of Early Learning Coalition. Thanks for coming in, Doctor.
Thank you for having me.
See you or somebody from ELC
Yes.
next Friday, Roseanne.
Thank me. Yes, sir.
Okay. Have a good
too.
rest of your week and a great weekend.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this short timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source. Coming up next, Susan Kieran. I hope she didn't listen to the radio today and hear that Galen Unal said that I should just tell her it's Father's Day and she has to let me watch the U.S. Open. Well, we'll see. That's next. And then Dumb Crook News at 10 o'clock right here on a Friday on The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
It's time for Farm and Ranch headlines on the Southeast AgNet. I'm Darren Scriven reporting.
USA
Checking
Radio
on the
News
market for
with
peanuts
Lance
this week.
Fry.
The
As
market
the
is
Fed
still
pushed the
very
inflation
strong.
panic
Shale
button
market
Thursday,
price
readjusting their
53 to
inflation
55
predictions
cents a
for
pound.
March.
That's for
Joe Biden's
jumbo
Treasury
peanuts.
Secretary
The
Janet
contract
Yellen
price
failed
for
to explain
farmers
her
has
position
been
on
running
the
about
deductions for state and local
$475 per
taxes
ton,
enacted
plus
by President
$25
Trump.
bonus
In her testimony
for
before the
our
House
premium
Ways and Means
if
Committee,
you're growing
Yellen said
for
Biden
seed
does not have a
or
clear
if you
position
have
on repealing
irrigation.
those tax
And in
deductions.
some areas,
The
they
House
just
voted
give you the
268 to
$500.
161
But
on
mainly
Thursday
the
to
runner
repeal the
peanuts is
2002 authorization
$475.
for use
Virginia
of
type
military
peanuts
force
is up
in
to
Iraq.
$500
If passed by the
with a
Senate,
$25
the repeal
premium
of the
for certain
AUMF would
things
tie
such
the
as
hands
hauling
and
and this
prevent
type of
future
thing.
presidents
The
from
market's
carrying
very
out
strong
attacks
this
in
year.
Iraq without
The
approval
USDA
from
has come
Congress.
out with an estimated
The Supreme
acreage
Court unanimously
increase
ruled
of
Thursday
3%.
foster care
That means the
agencies have a
U.S. will
First
be
Amendment
planting
right to turn away same-sex
1,626,000